Back at it again. We've got to double back to the Michael Cohen hush money case with Alvin Bragg and Stormy McDaniels. Yeah. Because when you have mainstream media coming out and saying something like what you're about to witness, it says a lot. Yeah. So you guys can guess where this one is going. Like, share, comment, and hit that subscribe button if you are new. And let's dive in.
Minutes of court today, right before the lunch break. It was incredible. I mean, it was, Ellie Honig on my program last night had talked about, on a cross-examination, lawyers want to kind of put the witness in build a box around the witness and then slam it shut. That's what Todd Blanche did to Michael Cohen. I mean, the story, the Todd Blanche just methodically went through this sequence of events of this phone conversation that alleged that Michael Cohen had testified to previously. That he had this consequential phone conversation with Donald Trump. It was a 90-second phone conversation. I believe it was October 24th was the date that it was testified to in around 8 p.m. or so at night. But Todd Blanche on his cross-examination today looked at the transcript of text messages that Michael Cohen had received and sent before that time frame. And there had been this series, I guess, of crank calls that Michael Cohen had received. It turned out to be from some 14-year-old. There was an exchange of messages between the alleged 14-year-old and Michael Cohen. And then Michael Cohen texts Keith Schiller at like 7:50 something or 7:48 p.m. Saying, hey, I've got some dope has been harassing me. I got the person's phone number. Who can I talk to? Keith Schiller texts him back saying, call me, and Michael Cohen calls Keith Schiller. This is the conversation that previously Michael Cohen had said he was calling to speak to Donald Trump to tell him that he was going ahead with the Stormy Daniels arrangement and that Trump approved it, which was crucial to Michael Cohen's whole raison d'etre for being on the stand. He's the only person testifying to direct involvement by Donald Trump in the Stormy Daniels payments. But according to suddenly now Michael Cohen's refreshed memory, he now says, oh, it was a call about this 14-year-old making crank phone calls to me, but also about the moving ahead on Stormy Daniels. Todd Blanche was incredulous, his voice cracking, his voice raising up, moving around the courtroom, speaking, saying that what the jury doesn't want to hear, him guessing, it wants to hear facts. It was an extraordinary cross-examination by Todd Blanche. And, Michael Cohen's, throughout the day, Michael Cohen, when he found himself in a corner, he does have a pattern of suddenly not understanding the question that's being asked, or seemingly one could say buying time to try to figure out how he wants to answer. But he definitely suddenly starts to, have Todd Blanche repeat questions and say, I don't quite understand what you mean. I'm confused by the question. But this time, Michael Cohen was cornered in what appeared to be a lie, I think, to many in the room, and had to adjust suddenly his memory that he had just testified to on Tuesday. Ellie, you pointed out just right before the commercial break, if jurors don't
I know that was quite long, but you get the message, all right? In short, it's not looking good. This guy is up there lying, and even CNN is saying it. Just how loud.
Cross-examination. Do you have doubts that conversation happened the way Michael Cohen testified on his direct examination, that he called Trump and Schiller?
I think it's absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's devastating, for Michael Cohen's credibility on this, in this one particular topic, whether it's, he just didn't, it's hard to, I don't know. Yes, I think if I was a juror in this case watching that, I would think this guy's making this up as he's going along, or he's making this particular story up. Todd Blanche is pointing out, you were testifying just on Tuesday in this court And all morning long, he's been pointing out, inconsistencies in Michael Cohen's testimony, or at least questionable aspects of Michael Cohen's testimony, but nothing that you would necessarily, as a juror, think, okay, that's clearly a lie. Maybe that's just he was misunderstanding, or he was bragging, or whatever. This one, Todd Blanche clearly saved this to right before the lunch break, I'm assuming, because it was just so well crafted, and just point by point walking through this story, which at first seemed, why this seems like a ridiculous story. Some 14-year-old is sending him, nasty text messages, and he's going to call Keith Schiller about it. And then you realize, you look at he showed the phone logs that the prosecutor had shown, and it's the phone call that Michael Cohen had previously talked about. I think it is severely damaging to Michael Cohen's testimony.
Another one down the toilet bowl. I mean, it's honestly pretty amazing how all of this is going down the drain slowly. And all Democrats were, we got him, Trump's a criminal, blah, blah, the whole nine. And of course, all of the irrelevant stuff that's come out in the case, and people are keying, now this is what you got. You thought this was all real? Come on now. Nonsense.
But I've never seen a witness who's lied to Congress, who's lied in court, who's lied to the IRS, who's lied to the Southern District of New York, who lied to his banker. The entire prosecution witness team has been lied to by Michael Cohen.
Yeah, and that's the defense's, or that's the prosecution's star witness. That's Alvin Bragg's star witness. Someone who has lied time and time again. And listen, CNN isn't the only mainstream media network that's saying this. Even MSDNC.
I think the punches are building cumulatively. I think Tuesday there were bruises, and today there's blood, to extend the metaphor. They're not done, and this is a back and forth process. I was listening to your reporting, following along like everyone. I'm going back in the courtroom next. I was just speaking to our colleague Lawrence O'Donnell, who spoke to MSNBC today as well. I think the collective view is these are moments the jury will remember, and they are instilling or adding possible doubts about Michael Cohen's long-term credibility. As I think everyone knows by now who's followed the trial, the question isn't has he changed his mind and retracted things. Both sides agree on that. That's not in doubt. The question is, does this guy still lie? And if he does still lie about anything, little, medium, or large, can you trust him? And the standard is not, okay, do we have to be convinced that he lies about everything? The standard for the jury, and why Blanche is making some progress, is by the end of this, does the jury have reasonable doubt about Cohen telling the truth on elements of the crime? The other stuff won't ultimately matter when they deliberate. It just accrues. But what we saw in that kind of dramatic back and forth as it's been described today, well, but you did lie, and have you lied, and why do you sound like this, and podcasts where you might sound allegedly unhinged, all of that accrues to whether jurors go back and say, I doubt whether he's telling the truth about an element of the crime. For example, Trump's criminal intent back in 2016. So I think they are landing blows, Andrea.
Yeah. When you got MSDNC saying that, you got some major problems on your hands. But not only did that go down, Michael Cohen's attorney, Robert Costello, I think that's how you say his name. He testified before Congress, and he had some interesting things to say.
He didn't believe the allegation of the Stormy Daniels story, that he thought the story would be embarrassing for Trump and especially for Melania, so he decided he would take care of it himself.
Absolutely, and that is contrary to what this guy testified to in court in New York yesterday.
Well, and what's not being talked about is your next paragraph, like the reason and his motivation for that. So if you could just kind of walk through that for the committee.
Yeah, obviously, when we started to talk about the NDAs, and this is the very first meeting at the Regency Hotel, when, by the way, Rudy Giuliani was not involved in representing Donald Trump at that time. Cohen testified that it was a conspiracy between Giuliani and Costello as of this date. Totally false. In any event, he also said that he didn't discuss the Stormy Daniels matter with us, and he certainly did. I specifically asked him, because he kept on going back saying, I can't believe they're trying to put me in jail for these NDAs. So I said, Michael, tell me about the NDA. Tell me about Stormy Daniels. What did you do? He said, I got a call from a lawyer representing Stormy Daniels who represented that she was going to testify that Donald Trump had sex with Stormy Daniels. Michael Cohen said, I didn't believe the allegation, but I knew that such an allegation would be terribly embarrassing. He said it would be embarrassing. He focused on Melania Trump. He said, I didn't want to embarrass Melania Trump. He said, that's why I decided to take care of this on my own. Right. I went back to that several times. You did this on your own? On my own. Did Donald Trump have anything to do with it? No. Did you get the money from Donald Trump? No. From any of his organizations? No. From anybody connected to Donald Trump? No. Where did you get the money? I took out a HELOC loan against my property. I said, why would you do that? He said, I didn't want anybody to know where I got this money. I didn't want Melania to know. I didn't want my own wife to know because she's in charge, he said, of the Cohen family finances. He said, if she saw money coming out of my account, she'd ask me 100 questions, and I didn't want to answer any of them. It was clear after talking to him for several days after that, whenever we talked on the phone or in my office, that he kept on bringing up the subject that he felt he was betrayed by.
Yeah, and he goes on to say that he felt he was betrayed by Trump because he wasn't part of the, the Trump presidential, team or whatever. He wasn't tasked to be, the attorney general or anything like that. So he felt betrayed. But yeah, that was his attorney who said he took out a HELOC in order to pay the hush money. And he did it so that Melania wasn't embarrassed or, anything like that. He said he didn't even believe it, right? But yeah, when you have all of this stuff coming out against you like this, you got some major problems. Some major problems. And even check out this clip. I want to show you guys this as well, because I think this also says a lot. This is the same guy, Robert Costello, Cohen's attorney. Check it out.
The rest of the proof doesn't support Michael Cohen. And by the way, one thing that you're not reporting yet is that besides making that statement, I swear to God, I don't have anything on Donald Trump, he also said more times than that answer, guys, I want you to understand, I will do whatever the F I have to do. I will never spend a day in jail. And then he'd slam his hand on the conference room table. And what does that mean to you? That means this guy is saying, I will lie, cheat, steal, do whatever I have to do. I'm not going to jail. Well, he did go to jail. And who do you think he blames for that? Mm-hmm. And why do you think he names his most recent book, Revenge? I mean, quite frankly, he's using this to monetize himself, because this is the only way this guy can make money right now, selling books and T-shirts and trinkets and being the ultimate anti-Trumper. And because he was doing that on TV, and I saw that, I said, I can't sit by and let this guy tell the grand jury, tell the jurors now this false story when he told us the opposite story at a moment when he was desperately seeking a way out and was willing to kill himself. And certainly cooperating with truthful information is a lot easier. But he didn't have any truthful information.
That leads me to a question.
Yep. That's Alvin Bragg's star witness, right? That's his star witness. That's the guy. That's the guy who some of these leftists say is going to take Trump down. Yeah. Mm-hmm. In some dreams, maybe. And even then, with that kind of case, you'd have some trouble even in a dream. And we all know some wild stuff happens in some of our dreams, so that says a lot. My goodness. Yeah, once again, I listen, this case, like I said, is over. It shouldn't have even been here to begin with. And I talked about this in a previous video where we were talking about this case. In my opinion, the only reason for this case was just to throw dirt on Trump's name right before the election. That's it. That's all. And it's not working. And actually, I may make another video because there's something else that I want to say about all of this that I don't think too many people are actually paying attention to. And it's not this directly, but this has something to do with it. It's everything combined, but I'll make a separate video on that topic because that's going to take a little while to dig into. But as far as this case goes, this case should have never been brought. I even had some clips from CNN. I don't believe I saved them though, where they were even saying they had like some judges' daughters on CNN or MSDNC, and even they were like, yeah, my dad said it. He would have taken himself off of this case, because Judge Merchan has donated to the Biden campaign, the Biden administration, and the daughter is, I guess, raising funds off of this entire situation. And even they were like, yeah, this is inexcusable. As a judge, you have to step back away from something like this. But like I said, it's just, in my humble opinion, it's just to throw dirt on Trump's name. But as you can see, it ain't working. So as always, y'all let me know what you thought about this one in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.